All right, hello. Welcome. My name's Frank. This is Premarket Wake Up. Community's called No More Paper. Currently have nobody watching, but at this point this is more of like a video log, video diary, we'll call it, where I practice my trading and my morning setup, my pre-market prep. I'm feeling kind of hopeless right now, and I don't know why. I'm sorry about yesterday. It was another migraine, which is average. You get one about once a month, but I don't care. I have a lot of work to catch up on. Let's get moving. As I go live, what do we have today for as far as news? Fed speech and some oil stock news. That's about it. I believe there's earnings, quite a bit of earnings. Let's take a look at that real quick. I'm going to do the news first and then get into what happened in the overnight and key levels to look at for today. In the news, for earnings, I mean. Whoa, lots of big boys this morning. It's probably going on right now. Let me take a look at my... Okay, so a lot of them were before 8:30. Coca-Cola was before 8:30. Halliburton. General Motors. 3M. I don't have any numbers on that. I don't pay for that service. I just like to be aware of it. Yeah, let's check some headlines, see what, because the worst ones will come up in the headlines. Great. More government getting in league with business. This can only end badly. Oh well, what can you do? And Coca-Cola popped. Rare earths mining is having a crypto moment. That looks interesting. Let's check that out. I don't know how I didn't catch that. I should have known that U.S. mining companies involved in rare earths would see a jump based on China's restrictions on rare earths. I don't know how I didn't catch that. It didn't click in my head. Okay, this company in Ohio is looking into excavation of rare earth material. So their stock pumped. Who knows if they're really going to do it? They might have just done that for the pop. would you have known beforehand that they were involved in that? And is it too late to get in now? They popped significantly. But how would you have known? I hate Yahoo's charts. Alright, that's enough of that. Just keep that in mind. For every action, there is a reaction. And a lot of stock trading is based on that. And if you're not purely technical, it's good to think about that. I like staying technical because fundamental, yeah, you catch things like this, but then you also have to deal with all the politics and know about it, which I just really want to ignore all that. Maybe I should just admit that I cannot. And then there's a deal with Australia for rares. I think we're going to see an update today. Just looking at all the $17 billion. All right, let's check out Unilever, the company trying to feed us slop. Oh, no big deal. They have to delay their spin-off of the 15 billion ice cream division because of the government shutdown. And I can't read the article because I need Financial Times, which is worthless. Alright, that's enough of news. Let's take a look at what other earnings this week. Tonight we have Netflix, Capital One, Texas Instruments, Mattel, kind of a big one. I don't know what Intuitive is. And tomorrow we have AT&T, Hilton. What is Amphenol? And Wednesday is Tesla. Kinder Morgan. Where do I know Kinder Morgan? A lot of big ones this week. I shorted Netflix a long time ago as a really long-term play. I don't think they can do anything to get larger. I think they're saturated. So we'll see. I'm looking to hold that for 3 years, maybe. I think it could take that long for the markets to realize there's no more gain there. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's check out the Fed Watch tool just to have an idea on that. A little bit down from yesterday, but still pretty high. I don't know what would have made it go down a little. Maybe the pullback in the markets. We're actually up slightly for January cut. That's that. All right, let's take a look at the overnight moves. ES. Not much. Back and forth. Staying somewhat strong. Pulled below yesterday's close. Was held up at this resistance area and is now deciding what it wants to do with the close again. On the daily, you can see where this resistance area formed last Wednesday specifically. So I would say going into the open, definitely look out for that level if we pull back to there. And then below that we have previous month's high. If we get down to previous month's close, that's also important. But lots of resistance between now and there. If we head higher, well, you can see we got current month high. That was 2 weeks ago. The day before the Friday crash, I'll call it. The tariff crash. I didn't think we'd have the strength to get back up here, but that area right there will be very important. That Thursday high. What happens there? If we break through that, then I think there's room for the markets to go higher. I thought we were looking at a larger pullback, especially with everything trading as it is. Everything is so inflated. And last week's earnings kind of justified that a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know what type of manipulation's going on. I don't really stray too far from the technical. The fundamental is a mess due to government intervention and printing money and hype and all that. But the thing is, on the technical side, you can see that on the charts. You can still trade this on the charts. I'm actually looking at a strategy based on the hype. I used to do that with penny stocks. I think it was a year and a half ago. They were very popular. And I would find them on StockTwits. Then I would scalp them very quick. It was pretty obvious in the orders when it was gonna jump up again, because they were all over the place like crazy. 20-cent gain on a 50-cent stock is huge. But then I was halted by crazy commissions from Interactive Brokers, which, as far as I know, other brokers don't have that. Anyway, I wouldn't mind doing that with other stocks that are worth more than $1. Something similar to that. Especially as a shorter term trader, as I feel more comfortable with that. Intraday mostly. I wouldn't care then so much about the fundamentals. You often see companies that are total crap shooting up 50% one day. Basically, I'm desperate right now to make more money. which is it's not the best attitude. Also significant, getting back to futures. It does look like last few days the balance is getting back to bullish in the volume. Except for yesterday. Yesterday was an anomaly, I guess. But like I said, we'll see what happens when price gets to current month high. If it gets there. Alright, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is already almost there. The overnight's very similar. To the ES. I'm not going to comment much on that. If we head lower, we have this large area of resistance, which was, I think, formed on last Thursday. So keep an eye on price when it comes down to that, as well as yesterday's regular trading hours open. Again, right here we are at the current month high for the NASDAQ. And then above that we have the R1 pivot point to look out for. But pay attention to what happens at the current month high. Russell, also somewhat similar, if not trending a little bit down in the overnight. Failed previous month's high. It is now biting at it again. We'll see what happens. Above that, we have yesterday's high, but it's too close to previous month's high to be too significant. On the daily, you can see above us we have the R1 pivot point, and then a huge area of resistance to get through before we even get close to the current month high. Heading lower, there's not much in our way. Some minor key areas, such as session open, yesterday's regular trading hours open, and regular trading hours low. And then of course last month's close, but that's quite far away. The Dow, a bit flat, the overnight. If we head higher, we have current month high. Basically, all the indices are biting at the current month high. So we'll see what happens right at the open. I won't trade right at the open due to that reason, because we are so close there. A couple different things could happen. You could see price jump right at it and then reject it. I believe it might take its time to get there. Who knows? All I know is I should have just held. So I bought on Friday, that Black Friday we'll call it. AI Bubble Friday. No, Tariff Friday. I think that's what we agreed on. I bought pretty close to the lows. I should have held. I should have just held. I should have should have known that that I would buy the bearish hype. Just take one look at the market over the past 2 years and you'll just see every pullback is bought up pretty quick. I think when a large bear market does come, it'll have to be larger. Something larger than a tweet. But one more reason to just stick to the charts. Should have known better when Friday's low, or even the close on that Friday, Tariff Friday, were not really broken. I really should have known then. It's like my trading career is one big shoulda, coulda. Let's try and change that. Alright, let's take a look at gold. Gold's tanking in the overnight, which again could be a good sign with the earnings, good earnings coming out, that people, money managers, whatever, are setting up their money to buy into the market. We're taking it out of gold for now due to the better than anticipated earnings of several companies. Looking to load up on the markets right now. That's just my quick opinion. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But right now gold is holding at yesterday's low. If we head below that, we have the R2 pivot point right below there to look out for. We've been riding I believe that's a 9 EMA. Oh, I didn't click on that. Yeah. We've been riding the 9 EMA pretty good, so that could be an area where we hold up. Look for a pullback at the low, if we do have the strength to head lower. Going the other way, well, it's pretty obvious what's there. Yesterday's regular trading hours open. I'd say more significantly yesterday's close would hold us up. Let's take a look at oil. Overnight, oil is up. Yesterday, it looks like I don't know the significance of that level that we stopped at yesterday. I've been staying away from oil. What I should have seen in the longer term is we were stuck in this channel here. Again, some more shoulda, coulda, woulda. In this sideways channel. You could have drawn that a little bit lower. But basically, we've been in this sideways channel. Broke below it, recovered a little. And then on the second breakthrough, that would have, I should have seen that. We'll see what happens if we come back up and hit it again. Or if we just recover slightly to head lower. We'll see. All right. That's all I have for today. I've got a lot of work to catch up on. Anyway, good luck. Goodbye. I will not be here tomorrow. But Thursday and Friday, I'm almost certain I will be. All right, goodbye.